Hi everyone, this is Oran Kivity, and if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I'm super was looking forward to this interview with my good friend Oran Kivity, a Moxibustion acupuncture specialist. And I was kind of like, acupuncture is a foo-foo thing. And this was back in the day when I would just deal with my pain and whatnot. And luckily, a trusted advisor, friend, mentor of mine said, just give it a try. And it actually helped a ton with my plantar fasciitis and got me back to healthy. And I'm blessed to have crossed paths with Oran because he really breaks down how acupuncture works. And in lack of a better term, dumbed it down for someone like me to understand. So it's just a super fun conversation. Oran is, I believe he's built from the Stoics. He's very quiet, yet when he talks, everything, people just zoom in and listen. So I can't wait to bring you this episode with my really good friend, Oran Kivity. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and unfortunately, I've had to reschedule a couple times with my good friend here, Oran Kivity, and I just feel bad about doing it. So thank you to him for carving the time to come on. And it's super early in the morning where my good friend Oran is. He's in Taiwan, and it's just fun to bring people in from all over the world to really level up you guys out there listening that we're also grateful for. And we're going to get into, acupuncture, which is something that I full-heartedly believe in. It's helped me with my healing, my blood flow, and just everything. And Oran has been in the practice since 1987. He specialized in pain-free Japanese acupuncture, developed in his own rhythmic Moxibustion method, which he teaches worldwide. He's based in Taiwan, like we said. He delights in coaching fellow practitioners, therapists, and professionals to find their path using tiny habits to make big changes. And what I love about Oran is he's so passionate about it that he's a great teacher, and that's something that all of us love to hear. And he's a fun teacher. And Oran, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Green.
Green, okay.
Green, yeah, because it's the color of the grass between my toes when I exercise in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the grass green there in Taiwan, kind of where you're at?
It's green, but I live in a harbor town, and I'm by a river and by a park. Literally, I walk 30 meters out of the door, and I'm by the river. Oh. And there's loads of people doing Tai Chi and Qigong and exercise like everywhere along the riverbank in the mornings. So the grass gets worn down in different patches. The patches under the trees get worn down, but it's green.
Awesome. So you said Qigong and Tai Chi also? Both of them? You practice that as well?
I do Qigong. That's my morning routine. Yeah.
Very good.
Qigong is just basically a kind of, you're regulating your Qi in a different way. It just means cultivating Qi.
I love it.
So I do exercise it.
So much power in that. And thank you again for coming on. And let's get to the roots of you, Oran. Where did you kind of, you're from Great Britain is what I'm thinking here. And then how did you get started and then kind of level up to the point where acupuncture was your passion into teaching it?
Acupuncture rescued me, I think. I studied French at university, but I was a university dropout. I was part of party animal. I was playing in bands.
Really?
And I wasn't very good at it.
Really? Okay.
So I was a musician for a while, but a woman moved. I was in a shared house, and a woman moved into the house. Bless her, Roisin Golding, and she was studying acupuncture. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "Oh, I study acupuncture." And this little light went off in my head. I said, "I could do that," because I'd heard about acupuncture.
Sure.
That was in 1983, and one day she just bundled me into a car and said, "Come to the college. I want you to visit it. Stop talking about it." And I went there, and I liked the college, so I started in 1984, and it changed my life.
Wow.
Because when you're I mean, a lot of people go into therapy because they want to, they want to help people, but at the same time, they want to help themselves.
Absolutely.
And they've got broken things that they need to fix. So
Right.
I fixed a lot of broken bits, and I came to terms with the bits I can't fix. So it changed my life. It was fantastic.
What was the greatest benefit that you found personally, not what you teach, but personally for Oran with acupuncture?
You mean when I received acupuncture?
Yes, sir. Yep.
It's mood altering.
Okay.
So, you can walk into an acupuncturist feeling one way, and you can walk out feeling another, like
Sure.
30 minutes later. And that's why it's used for drug addiction so much, because, people who take drugs, for example, they feel bad. So they take ice or Coke or whatever it is they take.
Sure.
And then it's mood altering. So they feel better.
Right.
So if you can give them a therapy that changes their mood, which is a positive therapy, something like acupuncture, then they've got a substitute. So, I mean, yeah. So for me, it was mood altering. I was depressed, when I first started acupuncture, and it really helped me to come to terms and pull myself together. So
Okay.
it was great for me. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. So with the style that you teach with the Moxibustion, how is that any different than maybe traditional acupuncture, or is it different at all?
It's very different.
Okay.
So I've been developing my own Moxibustion style, and I think I should explain to your
Yes, please.
listeners and to your viewers, because I think some people are watching it, right, and some people are listening to
Absolutely.
it. So,
Sure.
yeah. What is Moxibustion? Moxibustion is basically, you get a herb and you burn it and you warm up the skin. And that's done in all kinds of ways. So sometimes the most common way used in China is they put it into like a cigar form.
Okay.
And they wave this cigar over the skin, and it's like a radiant heat.
Okay.
In Japan, in particular, they like to shape these little cones like pyramids and put them on the skin and light them like a birthday candle, and it burns down. And before it gets too hot, you remove it.
Okay.
So that's called direct Moxibustion. And I've invented this. I've developed a kind of therapy which uses a piece of bamboo, and a piece of bamboo here's one for those your viewers. Who can see it. But it's about the size of my thumb.
Sure. Wow, it is.
And it's just a short tube of bamboo, and you stuff it full of the herb, and you light one end.
Okay.
It becomes like a pressing rolling tool.
Okay.
And it feels incredibly comfortable. So it's great for relaxing tight muscles. It's great for anxiety. It just feels really comforting. And you apply it rhythmically on the skin.
Okay.
Bamboo is essentially, it's a very rhythmic, the tube is rhythmic.
Yes, sir.
It rolls.
Right.
So you can use it as a roller.
Okay.
So it's become like a whole body therapy over the last 12, 15 years. And it's really an exciting thing for me.
I love it. What herb do you use if it's not too much secret sauce to share?
No, not at all. No, it's called mugwort in English, which sounds like it's from Harry Potter. And it's got a Latin name, Artemisia vulgaris, but it's basically it's a roadside herb. It grows all over the place in Asia. It grows, but and you can pick it up and dry it, and but I mean, to make really good quality stuff, you need to dry it a long time. But,
I love it. So there is a stigma around, oh my gosh, how can this work? Especially with Americans that have it. So how do you help them understand what, obviously you have your history, your story, help you through depression, stuff like that. But how do you explain it to somebody that maybe comes in that's a little bit skeptical, and maybe you don't at the level you're at, but maybe when you got started and you started practicing, how did you explain to them the benefits and to get them over that stigma?
I think there are two ways, and one is you can talk people through. You can explain what you're going to do, and you can put them. So I think explaining helps to some people.
Sure.
But the thing that really helps people is, I should explain that in acupuncture you do a lot of touching, particularly in Japanese acupuncture, because a lot of acupuncturists in Japan are blind, so they pick up a lot of their information from touch. And so a lot of my teachers are blind in Japan. I belong to a blind Japanese acupuncture association called Taiwan. So if you're touching places, particularly on the tummy, and it feels uncomfortable, and then you put a needle in and it stops feeling uncomfortable right away, and people go, oh, something just happened. And that's an incredible thing to happen right there and then in the session. So, what was that? Why was it painful? You say, well, that's like a dashboard. Your tummy is like a dashboard, and it's showing me where there are problems in the body.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so when they feel that release, then that's really something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like mind blowing how it can, because I mean, your tummy, like you said, is kind of our second brain. And there's a lot of things that happen in there that, wow, if you can release it there, then it can relieve anxiety, pain, a lot of different things, correct?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah. Well, so what was your experience of acupuncture? You said you had a lot of it.
I would have injuries that I kind of accumulated in different parts of my body. And I just happened to have in a martial arts world, someone that I was having them, and I was young at the time. I was in my early 20s. I just turned 50, last week. And it was I went in with that skepticism, but the person that referred me to acupuncture was somebody that I actually trusted. He was 15 years older than me. He was a great teacher. I still call him a mentor, even though he doesn't allow me to. He still, to this day, he still mentors me. And I went in and immediately relieved my plantar fasciitis and down into my lower ankle area, into my calf, in my bottom of my foot. Right. So, and then it just goes to the point where now it's a weekly, I don't want to call it a ritual, but I do go. And I live in South Florida, where the world of acupuncture is actually pretty solid, meaning there's a lot of people that do it, believe in it and whatnot. And it's just helped me. And I absolutely stand by acupuncture.
So for you, the proof was in the pudding.
It was. It was.
Yeah. So it wasn't anything your acupuncturist said. It was actually the fact that you got results.
Yes, sir. And because I was younger, it made me a believer faster. If I was older now, I try things now with more of an open mind and listen to the logic behind it. But back then it was all about results, because I was still competing in sports across the board. And it was like I needed to be at my best. And it just helps me keep, at my best for real. So I absolutely love it. So let me ask you, so when someone comes into you for acupuncture, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Yeah, well, actually, they often ask me a question, which is, they say, is there a point for headache, or is there a point for back pain? And that's, in a sense, it's a good question. And another way, it's a great question for me, because it leads me to my favorite answer. And I always tell people, so look, acupuncture doesn't cure anything. And they go, what? And I always enjoy that bit where they go, what? And I say, instead, what it does is it triggers the body to cure itself. So
Love
it's
that.
not So, when someone, you go around to visit a friend, you ring on the doorbell of the house. And that doorbell sends a signal into the house. It creates movement in the house, and a teenager comes bounding out and opens the door and says, hi, come on in. So you can't say the doorbell opened the door, but it sent information into the house. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're working on the outside of the body, and we're sending triggers into the body, and we're giving it a message. And then the body responds. And it responds by curing the pain, or by regulating menstrual cycle, or by increasing the blood flow to the brain, or whatever the problem is that the person's got. So, so that's what we're doing. We're teaching the body to do stuff. We're triggering stuff. We're not curing anything.
I love that analogy, that it doesn't cure, it triggers the body to cure itself. And our body is so just dynamic. I'm very I've moved more into I'm chasing energy, if you will. I always say that to people. But I'm moving more into movement is key. Whether it's yoga or, I'm looking at the Atlantic Ocean, where I just go and I jump in and I embrace energy. And I've noticed that, for 50 years old, I'm doing a lot more than other 50-year-olds do, because of.
Welcome to season 5, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
You did say that. Thank you so much. But I find myself, my body healing itself more on its own. But even my acupuncturist, which I'm gonna have to tell her that that's a great way you just explained it. It is fantastic. Thank you so much for explaining that way. So then let me ask you something, Oran. Have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have.
Okay, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Okay, let's go back to, say, the double deuce, the 22-year-old Oran Kivity. What kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on the younger Oran to maybe help him blast through, level up, or maybe just shorten the learning curve just a little bit?
I thought about that. I don't think I would. I don't think I'd tell him anything. Well, maybe I'd say buy Bitcoin.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but no, I don't think I'd tell him anything. I'd maybe just say, just go through it. You'll be okay.
I love it. I love it. You know, and there's just so many people I see, you know, they'll have a foot in the future, a foot in the past, and they pee on the present. You know, they just, they don't enjoy the life. And, but it seems like what you did, you're kind of a rocker and, you know, band guy, and you've kind of lived that life. I don't think I would change anything with your life either, man. That's fantastic. So, or how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date. Okay, your life date and your death date. How do you want Oran's dash remembered?
I think I would love to be remembered as someone who changed people's lives. Okay. And I think that I've achieved that to some degree.
Yes.
I think I'd like to be remembered as someone who contributed to the profession, and I think I've done that to some degree, but I want to do it more.
Yeah.
And I want to be remembered as a kind and loving friend. That's
I'm just feeling at ease talking to you, brother. It's like I could have, you know, kava. I love kava. I don't know. Have you ever had kava? Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoy kava 3 times a week. There in South Florida, there's kava bars. So, you know, you do your boulas. I sip it just because sometimes my tummy doesn't want to take it in with the ceremonial slam, if you will. But yeah, I could just sit and chill with you, man. That's awesome.
Well, we could do that. That sounds great. I've never been to Florida, but
you've never been to Florida. Okay.
No, I've been to the US, but I haven't got as far as Florida.
Okay.
But
I'm about 60 miles north of Miami. In Palm Beach, Florida. Yeah, that's right where I'm at. And I moved down here from Detroit, Michigan. So the weather is fantastic. And I'm glad I made that move. So what do you think people misunderstand the most about Oran?
You know, I'll give away my secret that I'm a Cancerian. So Cancerians, you know, I don't believe in astrology, but I think it's a nice analogy.
Yeah.
We have, you know, a crab. A crab is supposed to have a shell, like a hard outer shell, and be very soft on the inside.
Right.
I think I've got a very soft outer shell.
Okay.
So I look very gentle and soft, but I can also make tough decisions when it's necessary.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can speak my mind. So
you seem like the closest that I've actually had on the show of almost stoicism. You seem very stoic, like you're very deep in thought. You continually educate yourself. Am I right in seeing that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad my observant light is shining the right way.
I don't know how you got that, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think I had a mentor. I met him when I was 21 and he was 34, 35. Now he's in his 70s, and we're still very close. We talk once a week, twice a week, text all the time.
Sure.
And one of the wisest people I've ever met, and he was a teacher, a high school teacher. And he said, if a day goes by where I haven't learned something, it's a bad day. And I think it's just such a great, that's a level up statement for later. But I have to learn stuff.
Sure.
That's my joy. I love putting new ideas into practice and kind of absorbing stuff. That's me.
And you have to keep such an open mind in this closed-minded society that we have now to do that. And it seems like we're being forced into boxes. That's one thing I don't allow myself. I'm not political. You know, I just kind of have my views, and I have, you know, I make 2 New Year's resolutions every year. Okay. One, is to make someone smile every day. That's one.
Nice.
And two, unless I've disrespected you, hurt you in any way, I give zero what to what you think about me. Okay, that's just how I am. I won't go out of my way to disrespect people. I'm not saying I've not had road rage, and not to the point where it's confrontational, but I have those thoughts. But I've just really, through balancing, meditation, yoga, Ashtanga yoga, in my kava, I've really just kind of relaxed and chill now through things. I see that not much can really ruffle you, I would think. But when you get ruffled, you can really stand up to yourself. Am I observing that correctly?
I can stand up for myself.
Okay,
yeah.
I can see that. I can see that. And
I think it's interesting what you said about road rage, because there's something about being in a tin can on your own,
right,
where you just kind of like, this other part of you comes out, and they're like, yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably my worst side, is when I'm driving. But fortunately, in this country, I don't drive. I cycle everywhere.
Good for you.
It's just such. Well, it's just so easy. You don't need a car in this town.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny, like I actually have a sticker that I printed out that sits on my monitor called email apnea, where breathing, when you're working, you're not breathing. And like the thing with yoga that's really brought it to me to be a little bit more tranquil, and acupuncture as well, is that like when something happens, I actually breathe through it now. So the adrenaline's not allowed to like flow through my body and go. That's what I love about I call them the arts, whether it's, whether it's acupuncture, whether it's yoga, whether it's feng shui in my place, it's like, I like to keep order, and it's something I never had when I was younger. So I'm continuing like you to level up every day and try to learn something new every day. And from somebody, and it's funny because at these kava bars, there's a lot of younger kids, because it does give you that relaxation feeling. So instead of going to the bar to get, tuned up on alcohol, they come to kava, and I actually listen, and I've made friendships with these kids that are 21, 22. I actually am learning so much, just from that generation as well. Because a lot of people will tune that out because, I'm 50, and it's like, so it was like seen and not heard, do as I say, not as I do. And it's just like, now things have just changed so much. And like you said, you have got to continue to level up and learn. And thank you for saying that, man. So let me ask you something. Take out anything electronical out of this question, like your phone, iPad, whatever, and take out any family, friends, in like the natural, like gravity, air, water. What are 3 things that Oran can't live without?
Laughter.
Thank you. Yes. Okay.
Movement.
You and I are like brothers from another mother, man. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah,
man.
And I'm sorry, I can't take out family and friends.
Okay, good. I was going to leave that in and say community. It's just kind of like, absolutely, man. Yeah. We are much alike.
I cannot live without them. So, that's it.
Wow.
So, yeah, but laughter and movement.
Love that.
I think there's 2 things that are really important to me. Maybe if you don't allow me to say family and friends, then I'll say books.
Books. Okay. Continue. Like we say, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And whether you're a leader in your field,
that's nice.
Right. Or whatnot, it's like, you've got to continuously, your mind will turn to mush. It's weird. Even physiologically, if you're not, it'll atrophy. And that's where I'd like to stay sharp and almost take it to overload, because now I can meditate. I've learned, and I've been taught by, some very great people here in South Florida how to really just center. And so I can take it to that limit, but then I can also decompress, because a lot of people get information overload and they try to go to sleep, and they're just like, they don't get the right REM or the deep sleep and stuff like that, where I've not mastered it by any means, but it really does help using the arts. I love that. So what would Oran's definition of a life well lived be?
That's a good question. I think fully engaged.
Let's elaborate on that. Fully engaged with what?
Yeah. fully engaged with anything that I do. Again, my friend Sean, my mentor, long ago, he said, "Listen, Oren, even if I was doing toilet cleaning, I would really enjoy it."
Oh, I love that.
And I
love
thought,
that.
yeah, it's true. It's like, and when we used to, we shared a house at the same time way back then when I was living with Roisin, the acupuncturist. And when we used to clean the house, he said, "Come on, let's make a game out of it. Let's have fun." And it was like, yeah, when you're sweeping the floor, you can really enjoy sweeping the floor. When when I'm chopping onions, I'm really enjoying chopping onions. Yeah,
I
so
love this.
I like to be engaged with what I'm doing. When I'm playing with a dog or a cat, I'm fully engaged with that animal. So yeah, it's just
that is the best advice anybody could ever give. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it is. I mean, I had a mentor who owned an Italian restaurant in the Detroit area, and I would be pissed off to go and have to fold pizza boxes to get ready for delivery. And he just came in, and it's just like, "Listen, man, make this right now the only thing that really matters to you, and you're going to start seeing other things in your life change." This is after I got out of the military, and I was just like trying to make some side hustle cash while I got my real estate business off the ground. And I swear that after that, I made sure every box was faced the right way. It was easy for the delivery guys to grab them. And it's just, that's where it started, where you were saying, do everything that you can, whether you're stocking supermarket shelves to make sure the labels are out. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world. You don't know what that does to your subconscious mind to start attracting other great things, right?
Well, I think it's a keystone habit. If you teach a teenager to make the bed, and they make the bed really well and they do it, and then somehow that sets them up for the day, and then they go off and they start arranging their books neatly or something.
Right.
And I think it's that's maybe not the best example, but I think that once you get focused on a keystone habit, this is a lot of what I do in my coaching. Like, you get someone doing one thing well, and then it iterates throughout their life, and that's the beauty of habit coaching, and like helping people to do what they want. You get them doing one thing really well, and then the next thing that habit can grow, and then it can go sideways, and iterate into other habits, which also become very useful.
Yes. Yeah, and it's like we say in here in America, the domino effect, right? It's like you start having it just keeps going. I love it. I love it. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back with my good friend Oran Kivity. And he's a fantastic acupuncturist with a Moxibustion method. And Oran, we have a leveling up lightning round. You and I probably will one day over a couple of bowls of kava. Probably discuss a few of these questions that I have.
Okay.
But you have 5 seconds to answer them. Okay. And they can all be answered, but no explanations, just the answer. Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
What is the best leveling up advice Oran's ever received?
Learn something every day.
Yes, thank you. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I get up early and I do Qigong in the morning.
Love it.
I keep a diary.
And you learn something every day. So if you were to see me kind of like walking around, me like, Fergie, he looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. What book would you hand me?
Tiny Habits.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
BJ Fogg.
Yes. Absolutely. If you could, now don't lie to me on this one, young man, but if you could stay one age physically for the rest of your life and keep the knowledge you've gained and continue to garner knowledge and wisdom, what age physically would you stay for the rest of your life?
50.
Okay, very good. Good, because I feel good at 50 myself.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, but I'm not going to explain that. Yeah.
No.
But
any nicknames growing up?
Yes. I'm going to come out to 1 million viewers. Orange McVitie.
Orange McVitie. I love it.
Yeah. There was there's
You can elaborate. I want to hear this.
Yeah. There's a kind of cookie in the UK. It's called Jaffa cakes, and they're made by McVitie's.
Okay.
And so they're like these orange flavored. There's sponge on the bottom and like a bit of orange jelly, and then chocolate on top. They're really delicious, I have to say. And I love Jaffa cakes. And then people said Orange McVitie. So
I love it. I love it. Yeah. All right. Chess or checkers?
Checkers.
Okay, me too. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
Moxafrica.org.
Moxafrica.org. Hey, Donnie, put that in
Yeah.
the show notes. What is that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just detour off of my rules. But what is it?
It's a charity that works with countries where tuberculosis is a big problem, particularly drug-resistant TB or TB and HIV cross-infection. And they found out that in Japan, they used to treat, before antibiotics were invented, they used to treat tuberculosis with Moxibustion.
Okay.
So right up in the early part of the 20th century, before these drugs were available, TB was cured and treated effectively in Japan with Moxibustion.
Wow.
So Mox Africa said, well, there's all these people with drug-resistant TB and all these people with HIV-TB cross-infection in Africa, Korea, North Korea, and yeah, all over the globe, actually. Why don't we give them Moxa, train them to do Moxa on themselves with these Japanese protocols, and then their drugs are going to work again. They won't be resistant. And that's exactly what's been happening.
That's what it did.
So, yeah.
Oh,
so, yeah. TB is such a big problem worldwide. And I love this charity.
Love it.
Yeah. So
thank you. That's awesome. That's a great charity. We're going to put that in the show notes, Donnie. Okay. Awesome. Okay. And last question, and you can elaborate on this one as well, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
For me, it was the 90s techno era.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of music did you play when you were in your band days?
Oh, I played New Age rock.
New Age rock? Okay.
Yeah. So my favorite band at that time was XTC and The Clash and Sex Pistols and then the kind of more sophisticated New Age music as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the kind of music.
Would you have seen yourself playing at CBGB's?
What's CBGB's?
Oh, you don't know CBGB's? It's like even a lot of those names that you mentioned actually played at CBGB's in New York, in a borough in New York. Right, you have to look it up because I can totally see it with you. It's awesome. Yeah. And that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
So I love rock, but I had a pivot to techno. I thought techno music was just, so I mean, and I love that.
Steve Oakenfold, is that his name? Or Ronnie Cycli, or
yeah, I mean the kind of people I like, maybe Tim Green or Gary Beck. But so and there was a wonderful Detroit DJ, and I've forgotten his name now, but he came and played in Malaysia a few times.
Oh, really?
And, darn, I forgot his name. He was great. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Detroit techno show is out of this world, dude. It's cool. It's not my jam, if you will, but it was a lot of fun to go and attend. And the people there were just so cool and relaxed. I mean, some of them were on some stuff, but what concert do you go to or venue that they're not? So, excellent. So, Oran, how can we find you?
Well, you can go to my website, but Oran Kivity is kind of hard to spell on the radio, on the webcast. So just type in JapaneseAcupuncture.com.
Okay, got that.
And then that will pivot to my author site.
Yeah. I love it. And that'll all be in the show notes as well. So tell me a little bit about this coaching program that you have going on.
I've always been mentoring. I mean, since my early career in London, I've had junior practitioners under me, and I've been mentoring and coaching. But of course, with the pandemic, then I pivoted to online coaching. And the beautiful thing about it, I mean, I coach a lot of practitioners, and some of my patients as well have kind of from Malaysia. When I moved to Taiwan, they've kept on with me through Zoom. Right. So I do more like coaching rather than acupuncture. But the wonderful thing for me is like working with practitioners, because I can go into clinic with them now that we have Zoom in the way that we do.
Sure.
And they set up cameras here and cameras there, and I can work with their patients and really give them follow them with their patients as well.
Wow.
But for me, it's like habit coaching is such a powerful way to work with people, like what we talked about earlier, because you're really helping people do what they really want to do. It's not like you're uncovering all these traumas and helping them, cure traumas. You're just saying,
Sure.
what is it you want to do? Or
Right.
how are we going to get there? And
Love
this is
that.
how you can do it. Yeah. And I love that.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's you're just going with the flow with people.
Gotcha. Okay. So I love that, what you're doing. So is that available to the public, or is it just okay? Gotcha.
Yeah. So no, I work with a lot of practitioners.
Okay.
And because that's my experience. But of course I work with the public as well. So if people want habit coaching, then
absolutely.
That's fine.
I love it. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So if you do me as we part here, can you leave the squad with one last knowledge nugget they can take with them, internalize, and take action on, please?
Yeah. I think that when you're planning your day, you need a moment of silence. And a lot of people start their day with radio, with TV, with sounds, with movement, with interactions. But for me, I think starting the day with silence is the best way.
Love it.
Finding some way to be with yourself and engage with yourself before you do the radio, before you do the coffee, before you do just some moment of silence. So yeah, that would be my advice. That works for me. It works for me.
I 100%. I have 90 minutes every day, every morning that's Scott time, and it starts with intense breathing, but then it moves into sitting still. And with the intense breathing, I kind of use a Wim Hof method where I really oxygenate my body, and then I sit and be still and just let my day come to me. And then I get into my reading. I have a pit bull. He loves to walk, and then I get on the water, and then around that 90-minute mark, hop in the shower, and then I'm about serving others. So I love that you say to start your day with a moment of silence. And squad, we just had a fantastic interview and kind of a masterclass, a free one, with my good friend Oran. He said that acupuncture, rescued him, and he will remind you that it's a mood altering process. It helped him with his depression, but it can help you through, like myself, through a lot of different falls that I've had in life. And I'm not saying physical, but even mental, emotional. It's helped me really level up. In the Moxibustion, what he explained, which you can go to his website and learn a heck of a lot more. But, he kind of warms up the skin with an herb, and he uses the bamboo, and it really starts the process out. And I don't want to try to educate on that. Just go to his site, please. And just remember that acupuncture doesn't cure. It triggers the body to cure itself. It's kind of like if someone rings the doorbell, according to Oran's analogy. It's like you hit the doorbell, it just doesn't open. Somebody, that body's got to come and, that teenager, like he said, comes and opens that door. It's like it opens up to the healing. He's going to be remembered as somebody that positively changed people's lives. Right now, Oran is planting trees that he's never going to sit in the shade of. And that's what I love about bringing Oran, that he's kind, he's a loving dude. He wants you to learn something new every day. Keep that mind focused and level and open, and then level up. And he wants you to stay fully engaged with your passion. Remember those keystone habits that you integrate into your life, and it will start integrating a different part, like a spider web, throughout all the positive passion in your life. And he ended with, start your day with a moment of silence. Don't hop on the radio. Don't grab your cell phone. Start that day and really, really focus. Just like I have, the podcast that actually has the most listens and views is about how I started my day. And that's just fantastic that Oran does it as well. And Oran levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. He's humble, yet hungry. We're blessed to have him on. You've earned your varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on. I love your guts.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure just hanging out with you and chatting with you. And I hope to see you in Florida with a glass of cava.
Yes, we will, brother. I'll talk to you soon, Oran. Bye now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, And until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.